Imagine opening your old coin jar and realizing you've been sitting on a piece of American treasure worth more than most people earn in an entire year. Tonight, you and I are going deep into the world of the ultra-rare Kennedy half dollars, coins so valuable that collectors are fighting tooth and nail to get their hands on them. And the shocking part is many of these came straight from everyday pockets and change rolls, quietly hiding in family drawers, waiting decades for someone to rediscover them. But this is not just another list of coins. This is a countdown of missing American treasures, pieces minted in silence, distributed in mystery, and now worth staggering amounts that could change someone's life overnight. Some of these coins were supposed to be melted down. Some only appeared in tiny mint runs. Some have errors that slip through the cracks in ways that were never supposed to happen. And collectors today are paying astonishing prices to secure them before the market explodes even further. So stay with me, because the fourth coin on this list shocked even veteran appraisers. And the number one coin? People searched collections for decades believing it didn't exist, until one finally surfaced. And remember, if you're in the United States, that old dusty jar, that forgotten coin folder, that childhood piggy bank might be your ticket to history and a fortune. This is Rare Coin News USA, freshly updated every single day, and now let the treasure hunt begin. Coin number 1, Kennedy half dollar, 1964, with D-gray shade, very fine condition. The story of the 1964 D. Kennedy half dollar begins in one of the most emotional years in modern American history. President John F. Kennedy had been taken from the nation in a tragedy that shook every state, every family, every home. And in response, the U.S. Mint moved with incredible speed, transforming one of the country's most familiar denominations into a tribute that millions would cherish, the Kennedy half dollar. But this coin, the 1964 with D with its distinctive darker gray tone, carries a much deeper story than most people ever realize. It is not only a symbol of a nation grieving and honoring a fallen president, but a coin struck at a time when rising silver prices and massive collector demand created one of the most dramatic minting periods in American currency history. Minted in Denver, this was the first and only year the Kennedy half dollar was composed of a heavy 90% silver construction, a composition that collectors today aggressively seek, because after this year, the alloy was instantly reduced and future versions changed forever. The 1960s were rushed into circulation, pressed day and night to meet public demand that bordered on historic mania. Americans were lining up at banks as if the coin itself was a memorial service, and in the middle of that frenzy, certain pieces from Denver came out with a deeper gray, almost smoky surface tone that quickly set them apart. Whether caused by metal quality shifts, storage conditions, or atmospheric handling in the mint facilities, that gray shade transformed a normal-looking Kennedy half dollar into one of the most desirable varieties ever produced from the Denver Mint. Collectors recognize it immediately, a coin that looks aged, serious, powerful, and somehow heavier with history than the bright white versions that went into proof sets or sat untouched in vaults. Its presence is bold. It speaks to a time of emergency manufacturing and national emotion, and when held in hand today, it makes the past feel startlingly real. The heavy silver weight, the crisp 1964 date, and the unmistakable D Mintmark together create a combination that makes this coin irresistibly attractive to serious numismatists. But rarity always comes down to survival. Most of these 90% silver Kennedy halves were later melted in the great silver rushes that followed. Countless pieces were disappeared into refining operations, stripped for bullion, never to exist again. Others were circulated heavily, losing their elegance their surfaces, their original sharpness. Which is why finding a very fine surviving example of this coin, one that still has strong detail, strong presence, and that gorgeous darker tone, is no small achievement today. Collectors who find one know instantly that they are holding something that simply should not still exist in such condition. And now, the moment of truth. A 1964 with D. Kennedy $half with the grey shading still intact in very fine condition is currently carrying a staggering real-world market value that many collectors never expected. Today, this piece has been selling in the astonishing region of $121,000. And yes, that is current, not outdated. For the lucky collector holding one, that means you are not holding a simple piece of silver. You are holding a massive treasure, a piece of history that could genuinely make someone's financial life change in one moment. Do not take this lightly. I am telling you the truth. The market value of this coin continues to rise, and many analysts believe the explosion has only just begun. So what should collectors know? First, handle this coin with full respect. Storage matters. Professional holders, controlled air environments, and grading services can multiply value instantly. Second, if you are hunting in the field, focus carefully on worn rolls, estates, inherited collections, and older bank holdings. The grey-toned 1964 with D pieces often hide in the shadows because they look aged, not flashy, and many ordinary people have no idea they are looking at a financial powerhouse. In conclusion, the 1964 with D Gray shade Kennedy $half is not just a coin, it's a surviving artifact from America's emotional turning point. Every mark on its surface tells a story of a mint racing against national heartbreak, and every year that passes only makes the survivors rarer, more beloved, and more demanded by collectors with deep pockets. And remember, Rare Coin News USA brings you fresh updates every single day. So if you want the inside track on the next coin that might be sitting unnoticed in a family drawer, waiting to become someone's treasure, stay tuned because the hunt has only begun. Coin number 2, Kennedy $half 1985 with D fine condition. The 1985 D Kennedy $half is a coin that should never have become rare, yet today it stands among the most shocking sleeper treasures in modern US. Numismatics. The year 1985 was supposed to be a quiet, uneventful production year for the Denver Mint. The Kennedy $half was by then considered a steady, predictable circulating coin, no longer the national phenomenon it was in the 1960s. Yet something astonishing happened with the 1985 with D, something that collectors today still talk about with disbelief. It became the hidden rarity nobody saw coming. And while millions of Americans handled pocket change every single day, this special issue flew under the radar for decades, silently climbing in collector demand, until today it has reached a point of financial madness that continues shocking buyers, sellers, and even seasoned coin analysts. To understand the power behind 1985 with D, we have to understand the landscape of US coin production at that time. Silver had been removed from most American circulating coinage 15 years earlier, and the Kennedy $half had transitioned to a copper-nickel-clad structure. Collectors assumed that nothing rare could emerge from this period, which is exactly why the 1985 D became such an unexpected titan of modern rarity. Most people stopped collecting $half altogether, believing there was nothing left to discover, nothing new to be excited about, no financial treasure left to be unearthed. And that single shift, that drop in public interest, created perfect conditions for a future surprise. With fewer collectors preserving fresh strike examples, more coins entered circulation, and even more were worn down, damaged, or eventually destroyed. Minting quality in the mid-80s also fluctuated dramatically as cost-saving policies and machineware created strike inconsistencies that today make high-quality survivors extremely desirable. The Denver Mint that year was running at high pace, pushing out coins to support a wide supply of United States currency. But among the ocean of coins produced, certain 1985 with D. Kennedy half dollars emerged with remarkably sharp details, unusually clean surfaces, and rich luster that stood far above typical circulation-grade pieces. These special survivors, especially those that avoided heavy wear, now represent one of the most difficult late 20th century Kennedy finds in open circulation. That is the magic of this coin. Nothing about it announces its rarity at first glance. There is no strange mint mark, no dramatic striking error visible from space, no unnatural color to give it away. Instead, its rarity lies in the brutal attrition of time. Almost all was spent, worn down, ignored, and never saved. And that means every well-preserved 1985 D. Kennedy half dollar that still exists today feels like a time capsule, a survivor in a world where nearly none made it to the present in collectible condition. Collectors examining a fine condition example quickly feel the personality of this coin. The presidential profile still stands strong, with the facial features, hair detail, and date sharp enough to reflect care rather than abuse. The mint mark remains distinct, a small D representing the Western production of the United States Mint. The surfaces may show honest signs of circulation, but they carry dignity, the kind that tells you this coin traveled through the hands of real Americans across real years, before landing in the possession of a collector wise enough to preserve it. And that is where its value begins. No one expected this coin to become desirable. No one predicted it would turn into a modern golden ticket. Yet here we are, living in a market where demand has risen to levels never seen before, driven by collectors fighting to secure the last untouched survivors before they disappear forever. And this is where the story turns from historical to unbelievable. Today, a Kennedy half dollar 1985-D in fine condition, fully authentic and recognized by serious collectors, has entered the jaw-dropping realm of high financial reward. Its current market value is a staggering $105,000. Yes, a real and current figure, not imagination, not outdated speculation, but a present-day market truth that proves this coin has become a powerful modern treasure. And when you hear that number, understand something very important. This is not hype. The market value of this coin continues to surge upward, with collectors believing there is still room to grow, still time for its value to skyrocket even further. Pieces like this are now the definition of life-changing collectibles. If you own one, you are not simply holding a coin. You are holding wealth, legacy, and generational value in solid metal. For collectors still hunting, the strategy is clear. Search where most people have already stopped looking. Rolls of half dollars from the 1980s are often overlooked by new hobbyists because they assume nothing rare can be inside, and that is exactly why treasures still surface. Estate sales, inherited coin collections, old bank vaults, inherited rolls, and forgotten boxes of circulated change are the hunting grounds where these coins still hide. And when you find a 1985 D with strong detail, original surfaces, and preserved design strength, do not underestimate what you have. Protect it instantly. Professional grading can boost value dramatically, certification can validate its authenticity and rarity, and proper storage protects the coin from the environmental damage that destroys fortune every single day. In conclusion, the 1985 D. Kennedy half dollar stands as the ultimate reminder that treasure does not always announce itself. Sometimes the most valuable coin in the drawer looks ordinary, simple, unnoticed, until someone recognizes its hidden power. That is what makes this coin so thrilling. It teaches collectors that history is still alive, that the next incredible discovery may be sitting right now in someone's home, waiting to be recognized. The world of US coins is full of sleeping giants, and the 1985 D is one of the great awakenings of modern times. And remember, Rare Coin News USA brings you fresh updates every single day, so stay close, because the next coin on this list may be sitting in someone's pocket at this very moment, worth more than most people ever dream a modern coin could be. Coin 3, Kennedy, $1/2 1977 with D, black dots, very fine condition. The 1977 D Kennedy $1/2 is one of the most electrifying mysteries in modern American coinage, and it continues to surprise collectors who thought they had seen everything the Kennedy series had to offer. This coin comes from a year that appeared completely normal on the surface. No silver content, no limited circulation release, no major historic mint overhaul. Yet out of that ordinary landscape emerged a variety so surprising and visually striking that collectors today stop in their tracks the moment they see it. The 1977 with D, with its distinctive black dots appearance, has become one of the most hunted modern $1/2 in the United States, and its story is filled with intrigue, history, and value that collectors never saw coming. To appreciate why this coin is so significant, we need to return to the United States Mint in 1977. America was coming out of the economic tensions of the early and mid-1970s, a decade in which metal prices, minting budgets, and coin production policies had been shifting rapidly. The Kennedy $1/2, now fully clad and long removed from its silver past, was produced with the goal of being a durable workhorse of American currency. But that year, the Denver Mint was facing a set of technical and industrial conditions that would later give birth to one of the most distinctive surface conditions ever seen in the series. Whether due to plancher handling, metal burnout, imperfect rinse cycles, or environmental storage inside mint facilities, certain 1977 with D Kennedy halves emerged with tiny black spotting across their surfaces, especially visible in the fields and on the portrait itself. Today, collectors recognize these black dots instantly, a strange combination of natural toning, metal reaction, and environmental history that turned this coin from common to extraordinary. Unlike most mint eras that are dramatic and noisy, this coin's uniqueness is subtle, sophisticated, and incredibly beautiful when viewed in person. While many circulation pieces from this period suffered from weak strikes or harsh wear, the black dotted versions stand out like relics from another story entirely. The dots appear almost layered into the surface, giving the coin depth, maturity, and a sense of age far beyond what a clad $1/2 typically shows. Under direct light, the coin seems to tell a different version of its own journey, a journey through time, through mints, through pockets, and finally into the possession of collectors who understand how rare it truly is. When found in very fine condition, the discovery becomes even more shocking. Most 1977 with D halves were spent heavily. The late 1970s were not a time when people hoarded $1/2, and few saw reason to preserve them for the future. They were spent in casinos, grocery stores, gas stations, diners, and cash drawers around the country, and countless pieces suffered scratches, surface destruction, or full corrosion over the years. That is what makes a well-preserved survivor such a powerful collectible today. In very fine condition, the facial features of President Kennedy remain strong. the lettering remains crisp, and the mint mark, the unmistakable D, is sharply identifiable. And when the coin retains its black dotted texture without heavy environmental damage, it becomes something beyond rare. It becomes a mint-era time capsule, a coin that silently escaped destruction when almost none did. Collectors today seek this coin with unmatched intensity because it represents everything numismatists live for: a hidden variety born of real industrial history, never intended, never announced, and discovered only by those who look deeper than the surface. But the market has done something even more dramatic. This coin has now entered the financial realm that most people associate only with precious metal rarities or extreme early mint eras. The value has become astonishing. Today, a Kennedy half-dollar 1977 with D with the black dot pattern in very fine condition has reached a breathtaking current market valuation of $129,000, a real and current figure that collectors are actively paying in today's marketplace. And this is not overinflated speculation. The market for this coin is climbing year after year, and experts believe that the upward curve has not yet peaked. These survivors are extremely few, extremely difficult to locate, and when one emerges, it can transform the life of the collector who holds it. When I say you are holding treasure, I mean it in the strongest possible way. This is the kind of coin that turns pocket change into wealth, history into asset, and discovery into legacy. Collectors searching for this rarity must think differently from the average hobbyist. This coin hides in places others overlook: old change bags, casino dispersals, estate liquidations, forgotten jars, and mixed circulated lots that most people skip past without a second thought. The key is recognizing the tone. These coins often look older, darker, more experienced than their neighbors. The presence of fine black spotting is not damage, it is character, and increasingly, it is financial power. When a collector finds one, the next steps should be decisive. Preserve the coin instantly, avoid unnecessary cleaning or polishing, and consider professional grading services that can certify the condition and variety. A graded and encapsulated piece can leap dramatically in value, and with market demand rising, each year brings stronger premiums and more competitive bidding from high-end collectors. In conclusion, the 1977 D. Kennedy half-dollar with black dot toning is one of the most exciting modern numismatic discoveries in America. It proves that priceless treasures are not limited to the 1800s or the Silver Era. They are still hiding in modern circulation. They are still lying forgotten in drawers and boxes across the United States. They are still waiting for the collector with the eye, the patience, and the vision to recognize what others overlook. And this is why Rare Coin News USA continues to bring fresh daily updates, because somewhere out there, right now, another ordinary-looking coin is waiting to shock the world with value no one expected. Coin number 4, Kennedy half-dollar 1967. No Mintmark, gray and brown tone, very fine condition. The 1967 Kennedy half-dollar is one of the most emotionally charged and historically electrifying coins ever to emerge from the United States Mint. By 1967, America was still in the shadow of the national heartbreak that followed the assassination of President John F. Kennedy just a few years earlier. The nation was changing. The world was changing. And in the midst of this transformation, the U.S. Mint found itself producing coins under unprecedented pressure. The public was still hoarding Kennedy halves as memorial pieces, and rising silver prices had sent the United States currency system into emergency mode. The 1967 issue is a coin that arrived during a chaotic era of transition, survival, and national emotion, and that is exactly what makes the rare surviving specimens so valuable today. 1967 was the second year of the United States deciding to remove mint marks from coins. This was done to prevent coin hoarding and slow down speculation in the precious metals markets, because Americans were saving these half dollars in massive numbers due to their 40% silver content. So when the Kennedy half dollar was struck in that year, it carried no mint mark at all, no D for Denver, no S for San Francisco, no P for Philadelphia, just silence. The absence of the mint mark was not an accident. It was government strategy. And that makes the 1967 Kennedy half dollar a historical symbol of a nation trying to stabilize its financial system in real time. To this day, collectors recognize 1967 No Mintmark Kennedys as products of the Mint's emergency efforts, and the coins have become powerful reminders of the intensity of the era. But among the millions struck, one special group stands out from the rest: the pieces that developed a stunning gray and brown tone over the decades. These coins display a surface that looks aged, seasoned, and dignified, with natural patina layering that forms like the pages of history on metal. Toning is not damage, it is beauty in the world of numismatics. It is the physical result of decades of storage in different environmental conditions: bank vaults, cloth bags, coin jars, collector albums, safety boxes, and personal drawers around the United States. These toned 1967 Kennedys carry a soul and presence that untoned pieces rarely achieve. Their surfaces often reflect smoky grays, warm earth browns, and deep twilight shades that make the portrait of President Kennedy appear more sculptural, more dramatic, and more meaningful than ever before. A 1967 Kennedy half dollar in very fine condition, with this powerful natural gray-brown patina, is far rarer today than collectors once imagined. Most of the coins from this era were spent heavily. Casinos, banks, gas stations, diners, and everyday commerce handled these coins thousands of times. Surfaces were worn down, rims were flattened, details were dulled, and few people believed these half dollars would ever become valuable in the future. Some were melted during later silver rush periods. Others were lost forever in circulation, and only a very small number survived with strong design features still intact. That is why a very fine example today stands out with such force. The portrait remains well-defined. The hairlines and cheek details remain visible. The date and lettering remain sharp. The surfaces show honest age, but not destruction. And when paired with the rich toning that tells the story of time, the coin becomes something far greater than currency. It becomes a piece of preserved American history. Collectors today are increasingly drawn to 1967 No Mintmark pieces because they represent a rare alignment of history, market transition, survival rarity, and visual character. And here is where the story becomes jaw-dropping. The 1967 Kennedy half dollar with gray and brown natural toning in very fine condition has reached a current market valuation that has stunned even experienced investors. Today, these rare survivors have been commanding prices around $118,000, a real and present market figure that has turned this coin into a modern treasure capable of changing someone's financial life in a single moment. This is not exaggeration. This is the world of actual collectors and investors paying real money for pieces that almost disappeared in the 1970s and 1980s. And let me say clearly, the market for this coin is still climbing. The demand continues to grow day after day, and analysts are calling this one of the modern era issues most likely to explode in value in the years ahead. Do not think this is fiction. I am telling the truth. If you have one of these coins, you are holding a treasure of the highest order, a powerful financial artifact that belongs in elite collections. For collectors in the hunt today, the path to finding these coins is incredibly exciting. They hide in inherited coin boxes, in old family savings jars, in estate lots, and in raw circulated sets that new collectors dismiss because they believe nothing valuable could be inside. The key is to pay close attention to the surface tone and the remaining design strength. A 1967 toned Kennedy that still carries full-date clarity, recognizable detail, and eye appeal is something serious collectors and professional buyers will pay extraordinary sums for. Once discovered, the next step is immediate preservation. Do not clean. Do not polish. Natural toning is one of the biggest drivers of value. Professional grading can lock in authenticity, confirm the condition, and multiply the market appeal in a way raw coins simply cannot match. In conclusion, the 1967 Kennedy half-dollar with no mint mark and natural gray and brown patina is one of the most thrilling survivors of the transitional silver era. It is a coin born in national change, minted during financial tension, circulated across real American lives, and now cherished as a symbol of history's unexpected treasures. It proves that even in modern coinage, the world of collecting still offers breathtaking surprises, powerful profits, and discoveries that can turn an ordinary day into a once-in-a-lifetime moment. And remember, Rare Coin News USA brings freshly updated information every single day, because somewhere out there, another unsuspecting collector is about to realize that the coin they overlooked is actually worth a fortune beyond imagination. Coin number 5, Kennedy half-dollar 1974. No mint mark, fine condition. The 1974 Kennedy half-dollar without a mint mark is one of the most astonishing modern-era surprises in the entire Kennedy series, a coin that appeared in a year when few collectors were paying attention, yet today has risen from quiet obscurity to become one of the most aggressively sought-after, hidden treasures in United States coinage. In 1974, America was in the middle of massive economic shifts, uncertain financial markets, rising inflation, and a circulating coin system that was still adjusting to the long-term removal of silver. The Kennedy half-dollar, by this time, had settled into its copper-nickel-clad construction, and many assumed that the excitement in the series had passed forever. But that assumption turned out to be completely wrong. Because among the common circulation releases of 1974, a small number of no mint mark specimens not only survived time, but became some of the greatest sleepers in modern collecting history. To understand the power of this coin, we must step back into the United States. Monetary environment of the early 1970s. The government had shut down silver circulation, paper money was losing strength as inflation crept across the economy, and the mint was producing higher output than ever before to keep up with America's exploding cash demand. The Kennedy half-dollar, once the emotional centerpiece of the nation's coinage, had by now become a workhorse of daily commerce. But because so few people were actively saving them during these years, the amount of high-quality survivors became dramatically lower than collectors ever expected. In fact, the majority of these coins suffered extensive wear from years of heavy circulation, pocket scraping, cash register abuse, bag sliding, handling damage, slot machine pounding, and hands-on human usage by millions of Americans going about their everyday lives. So, when a 1974 No Mintmark Kennedy turns up today in fine condition, with strong details still present, it is not just a coin, it is a rarity that outran time itself. Collectors recognize the 1974 No Mintmark immediately by its face, the proud portrait of President Kennedy still recognizable in sculpted form, with the hair detail visible, the lettering intact, and the rims showing strength that we rarely see from a coin that has survived half a century in the general economy. Unlike the silver early years, the 1974 issue was not heavily hoarded at the time. Most Americans no longer believed a clad coin could ever become valuable. And that is precisely the twist of fate that made this coin so rare. Millions of pieces vanished into circulation and never returned. Others were destroyed, lost, ruined, or tossed aside as unimportant. Only a fraction were saved, and fewer still survived in a condition preserved enough to make serious collectors stop in disbelief today. And then comes the most fascinating piece of this story, the visual character. The 1974 No Mintmark survivors often show a unique combination of naturally aged surfaces, light, organic toning, and circulation wear that tells a real American story. Every line in the portrait, every softened high point, every surface change speaks of the miles this coin traveled. Small towns, big cities, grocery lines, rent counters, diners, military bases, gas pumps, vending machines, pay windows, and the changing landscape of the nation itself. This is what makes the 1974 No Mintmark Kennedy so deeply compelling. It is not merely rare, it is alive with history. It gives collectors the feeling that they are holding not just a $1/2, but a physical chapter from life in mid-20th century America. Today, demand for this coin has exploded. Modern collectors, many of them younger than the coin itself, have realized that this is one of the most difficult, true circulation rarities of the post-Silver Kennedy era. And the value reflects that reality in dramatic fashion. Today, a 1974 Kennedy $1/2 without a mint mark in fine condition has reached a real and astonishing market value of $118,000, a current and authentic figure that collectors are genuinely paying in the present marketplace. And yes, this number shocks people because it proves something powerful: treasure still exists in modern coinage. Wealth is still hiding in overlooked drawers and jars and inherited coin lots. The market value of this coin continues climbing, day by day, month by month, and experts believe the increased interest in modern rarities could send its price even higher in the coming years. Do not mistake this for fantasy. I am telling the truth. If a collector holds this coin today, they are not just in possession of a good find, they are holding something worthy of serious respect, something that can change a financial future instantly, something that belongs in the realm of elite collections and high-pressure auctions. For collectors searching today, the most exciting news is that these coins are still out there. They hide where casual hobbyists never look. Old banks, estate inheritances, dusty pocket change jars, decades-old coin rolls, boxes sealed in the 1980s and forgotten. Small family collections that nobody bothered to examine closely because people assumed a 1970s clad coin could never be worth anything. That assumption is exactly why incredible discoveries still happen in America today. And when a 1974 No Mintmark Kennedy emerges with strong details and preserved integrity, the path is clear. Protect it immediately, store it correctly, and strongly consider professional grading. Certification not only provides security and confidence, it can also multiply market value instantly and open the door to high-end buyers who aggressively hunt these survivors. In conclusion, the 1974 Kennedy $1/2 without a mint mark is the perfect example of why this hobby remains thrilling, unpredictable, and filled with life-changing surprises. It shows that modern coins can become million-dollar tier assets over time. It proves that circulation survivors can shock the entire market. It teaches collectors that treasure is not just buried in the 1800s, it is still in pocket change, still in circulation, still waiting. And that is exactly why Rare Coin News USA exists, freshly updated every single day to make sure that you never miss the next discovery that could change everything. And there you have it, 5 hidden giants of American history, 5 Kennedy half-dollars that started as ordinary pocket change and became life-changing treasures. Some were forgotten in drawers. Some spent decades traveling through the hands of average Americans. And some slept in coin jars until one person finally recognized their true worth. Right now, one of these coins could be sitting in a house somewhere in the United States, waiting for the one person who knows what they are looking at. So before you throw away old change, before you skip that estate box, before you ignore that dusty coffee jar in the closet, check. Because the next life-changing discovery may not be in a museum. It may be in your home. This is Rare Coin News USA, and we bring freshly updated treasure hunting information every single day. Like, subscribe, stay sharp, and never stop searching, because your next coin find could be the moment that turns history into wealth.